Heather Plett, and I am welcoming Desiree Adaway to my little series on Let Go of the Ground and Taste the Sky. Now, Desiree is absolutely one of my favorite people online. And, I know it doesn't look like it, but we actually kind of believe we might have been separated at birth because we're like sisters on the journey.
We're just sisters from another mother.
Exactly. When we first met, we discovered fairly quickly that we were on a really similar journey, leaving our jobs in leadership and nonprofit and launching our own business. So that's kind of really what connected us at the beginning. And Desiree continues to work as a consultant, working with nonprofits and organizations that want to impact change around the world, really want to be change makers. So I applaud her work, and we talk quite regularly and support each other through our journeys. So Desiree, welcome.
Thank you.
Desiree, as you know, I'm asking people to share some stories, and so I would love to hear your story, some personal story of when you learned lessons in letting go of the ground and trusting the process.
Well, I'll give you my very first lesson, and it happened at a very young age. And I know that I don't look it, but really, I'm 45 years old, and my first real lesson of listening to myself and that voice within me and letting go of all that I knew happened when I was 16. And when I was 16, shocking, I was not a very happy kid. Like most teenagers, right? I was filled with angst, and I just didn't know where I fit in, and I wasn't one of the cool kids, and I didn't want to be one, but I didn't know who I was or where I belonged. And so what do you do when you feel like you don't belong? Well, you cut school consistently is what you do, Heather Platt. And so I was the kid who didn't go to school for an extended period of time. And in my defense, and to my mother and my parents, honestly, the testament of them being amazing parents is when my mother found out that I cut school for an extended period of time, she asked me what was I doing and where was I at, and I told her the truth. And that was some days I stayed at home and slept and watched soap operas. But a lot of the days I got up and I went to the museums in Chicago and the library and bookstores, and I would sit and hang around them all day and read. I wanted to learn. I just didn't want to learn in that environment. And so one day while I was cutting class, a gift was given to me. I was reading a magazine, and in the back of the magazine, they used to have little ads, and there was an ad to be an exchange student. And I was like, huh. And it was a number in New York City, and I didn't care about my parents' long distance bill, so I picked up the phone and I called New York. And they sent me an information packet, and I got it. And I filled out the application. I may have signed my parents' name on all the forms. Allegedly. I signed my parents' name on all the form, and I mailed it all back. And at this point in time, I was back in school and miserable, and got a letter saying, hey, I could do an interview locally. So I threw all my dressy dress clothes in a backpack, went to school for the day, set up a meeting at a local hotel downtown with this woman who's interviewing me, and went and met her. Changed clothes in the bathroom of the hotel and went and met her and did my interview. And then went home. And a few weeks later, got a letter that said, hey, you've been accepted to go to Germany for a year. And I'll never forget it. Okay, this was 1982, and the cost was $3,200, which now is nothing. But then it was like $1 million. And my family was not rich by any stretch of the imagination. And if my family had $3,200, they wouldn't send me to Germany. They would probably try to send me to college with it. So I was just like, oh, I'm not going. And then a voice came to me, and it's the voice that I've always listened to. And that was the first time I really heard it, honestly. And it said, you've got to get out of here or you will die. And I was just like, oh my God. And I listened to it. So I began to write anybody that I thought would listen to me. I mean, Oprah, the president, every sports team, every politician in the world. I wrote them letters. And this was before email. Like I wrote letters and took it to the mailbox and said, this is who I am. And I want you to help me go to Germany for a year. And this is what I'll do for you in exchange for that. And not shocking, I did not get a response back from not one person. But it didn't stop me. I kept asking people, who should I talk to? Where should I go? And one day I got a phone call, and it was from someone who said, hey, I can't really tell you who, but somebody told another person about you, and they told another person, and they actually told one of my clients who's fairly wealthy, and she's going to cover your entire trip.
Wow.
And I never met her. I never even knew her name. But this woman changed my life in such a fundamental way. And so, me being the precocious child that I was, and this is the day before the passport system became computerized. Again, allegedly, I may have signed my parents' name on some paperwork while my mom was on vacation. And I went down to the U.S. passport office in Chicago and put in and got me a passport. And I was the first person in my family to have a passport. And my mother came home from vacation, and she sees this open suitcase in the middle of my bedroom. And she says, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm going to Germany in about 2 weeks. And she said, no, you're not. And I said, yeah, actually I am. And I can't even articulate how much I needed that and how I knew that that was where I was supposed to go, to the point that I defied my parents and said to them, I just have to, because our flight where the group was meeting was actually leaving from Chicago. And I said, I just have to get to the airport. Mm-hmm. And you know I will get to the airport. Mm-hmm. And so my mom, being the lovely, lovely woman that she is, came back to me a few days after talking with my dad. And she said, okay, we're going to let you go. And she told me years later that her thought was, I'd come back. Like, I'd go, I'd stay for a couple of weeks. It would be horrifying for me. I don't know what she thought would happen, but I would come home. And I was supposed to be gone for a year, and I actually was gone closer to a year and a half.
Wow.
And I traveled around Europe by myself at the age of 17. And I saw and did things that, and met people that really helped to form who I am today. My sense of connectedness with the global world, my understanding of humanity, and all of that. And that happened because I did what nobody else in my family had ever done before, and I left this very safe but limited cocoon. And I flew, and I had no idea where I was going. And I didn't speak a word of German. Like, let's be clear. I realized when I landed, I can't even ask to go to the bathroom. Like, what am I doing? But it didn't stop me. And that has actually been one of my saving graces through life. I've always stepped out and known that it's going to be okay. And that I could fail, but that I was never a failure. And, yeah. It's been listening to that voice changed who I am fundamentally.
Are you ready to fly?